All right, this is the review for the Unit 4 test. I'm looking at the test right now. I'm going over it. Should go in order of the review, so just fill it out as you go along. Of course, test is tomorrow. If you feel like there's something you don't understand or don't get, then come into tutoring. I get here about 7:30 in the morning. So just make sure you come in for that. Remember, this is the last unit test before the midterm. So no more test grades after this. All right, so first one on your review should be Tierra del Fuego. That is the southernmost tip of South America. So that's the southernmost area of all of Latin America. Latin America starts in Mexico and then all the way down to the southern tip of South America, which is Tierra del Fuego. You need to know where the Andes Mountains are located. They're located along the west coast of South America, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, all of that, so along the west coast. All right, you know where the Amazon River is. It starts over in the Andes Mountains on the west and flows east across Brazil into the Atlantic Ocean, empties into the Atlantic. All right, the Llanos, that is the grassy plain. That is in Colombia and Venezuela. So it's a large grassy plain. That's where obviously a lot of their cattle are that graze in that region. All right, slash and burn. That is a farming technique used mainly by natives to clear fields so they can grow crops. So like clearing part of the rainforest, they'll cut down vegetation, burn down the trees and stuff. Use that land to grow on, and then eventually it runs out of nutrients and then they move on and move somewhere else. So that's a contributor to deforestation as well. All right, next one, you need to know where the rainforest is mainly located in South America. In South America, most of it is in Brazil, but that's key. So the ones in South America, there is rainforest in Central America, there's rainforest in southern Mexico, but when it comes to South America, most of it's in Brazil. All right, next one's about tourism. As far as being an industry in Latin America and how that's helping. It's what's called a growth industry, meaning that it is growing the economy of Latin America. It's creating new jobs. Because think about it, when tourists come in, you got hotels, you got restaurants, you got chauffeurs, you got places for them to shop, things like that. So it creates economic growth. So it's a growth industry. And it's something that's spreading throughout Latin America. As these governments get better, more stable, you'll start seeing more tourists going to those regions. Terraced farming, that's where you cut into the side of the mountain, make like stair steps on the mountain. Natives use that in areas where there's no flat ground to use, so you cut into the side of the mountain and create flat ground so you can farm. All right, infrastructure's on there again. Remember, infrastructure is everything that you really see like in a city. The sewer system, electricity, transportation, all that and how that works together is all part of the infrastructure. All right, then you got several map questions and chart questions. Skipping by some of these right now. Good amount of them. All right, debt for nature swap. What they're trading off is they're trading off having to pay debt, so they don't have to pay debt in Latin American countries, so that they can use that money to then help protect the rainforest and keep from massive amounts of deforestation. So debt for nature, we forgive the debt of Latin American countries so they can use that money to preserve the rainforest. All right, aspects of global warming. Obviously, carbon dioxide building up in the atmosphere from auto emissions, from factories, things of that sort, where you see a lot of that occurring in South America. Obviously, this increases global temperature. It is increasing quite a bit. And then this also creates climate changes. You can see this not only worldwide, but you can see it in local areas. So areas where you see excessive pollution, you will see weather changes even within those small areas. You could even say that's why, like in our area where we live in the Metroplex, why we have stronger storms, because there's more heat that comes from urban areas, because the heat is reflecting off the ground. Cement holds the heat in longer, and as that heat rises, it makes the thunderstorm stronger. And so also in South America, where you're getting more pollution, more global warming, it's keeping that moisture and that humidity down in the atmosphere lower, and it can make thunderstorms much stronger. It can make hurricanes stronger. If they were to have tornadoes, they could be much stronger. Everything ramps up with temperature being higher and with global warming, keeping that heat and that moisture within the atmosphere. All right, biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the wide range of plants, animals, insects, all that you can see within an area. So rainforest has the most widest, here I'm making up words, has the biggest biodiversity, biggest diversity in plants, animals, insects than anywhere else in the world. You see there's thousands and thousands of different species of everything in the rainforest. And of course, those are going extinct through deforestation. All right, things that have contributed to deforestation in the Amazon. I've already hit some as we've gone through this. Obviously, demand for things like different types of wood, different hardwoods for furniture, things of that sort. Land for farming, clearing out so they can farm, like the slash and burn farming technique. And then also for cattle to graze, they clear land so the cattle can roam around and graze on the grass. And so those are your big three reasons on why deforestation occurs. So demand for the hardwood for things like furniture, clearing of the land for farming, and then also clearing of the land for cattle to graze on. All right, next one. Why in Latin America they can't really take advantage of the free market economy. That's the kind of economy we have here. Biggest really really it kind of goes in together. Lack of education is the biggest thing, because with lack of education, there's going to be a lack of good jobs that pay anything meaningful whatsoever. Because if you can't read, obviously you can't really do that much. I mean, you can do manual labor, things where you're just doing an action, but you can't do anything that requires any reading whatsoever. And generally, if you're not educated and you can't read, you also can't think very critically. So you can't do anything that requires a lot of higher level thinking, because you don't know how to think at a higher level. So imagine being stuck at the educational level of about a kindergartner. And that's where you're at as an adult. There's not much you can do. All right, oligarchy. Oligarchy is a form of government where you got few powerful people in charge, controlling everything. Goal of land reform. We've talked about somehow. We talked also in Mexican history with Benito Juarez that wanted to reform land. Basically what that means is that you want to divide the land and wealth more fairly among everyone else. Instead of these really rich people that have all the land and all the wealth, and all the poor people that have nothing, take that, divide up the land, divide up the wealth to where everyone is living at a good standard of living, kind of create a middle class out of that. So that's what they're wanting to do. It's basically a form of socialism. You distribute the wealth and distribute the land equally. All right, a junta. Junta is a military government that controls everything. So you get military leadership controlling the government. You need to know aspects of democracy or characteristics of democracy. Obviously, things like free speech, fair elections, so they're not rigged. Obviously, you're going to have citizen participation, things of that sort. You're not going to have really powerful rulers that take away rights and things of that sort. All right. Also, you need to have examples of caudillos. First off, a caudillo is a dictator. An example from the 20th century would be like Juan Perón of Argentina would be a good one. Chavez, even though he's been elected, he still rules much like a dictator. Could be another example. So caudillo's dictator, best example would be Juan Perón of Argentina from the 20th century. All right, more map questions, and I think that's it. So there's 44 questions altogether. Lots of them are maps and charts, so you should do well. Now, some of these multiple choice we did go over are a little bit challenging, but just as long as you watch this video, you should be okay. All right. So, again, if you have any questions, come into tutoring tomorrow. I'll talk to you later.